Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Don't Praise the Machine. Al, I have been working from my office at
Mhm.
Melbourne Law School. Shout out to my colleagues at Melbourne Law School. We're still, I think, in the top 10 world law school rankings, and I
Is that
think that's
right?
mostly down to me, although it's dropped a bit since I was put on permanent staff there, and I can't help but think my classes are partly
It's dropped
responsible.
a bit since I was put on permanent leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Since the
And
incident.
since I was put on leave without pay, there was some bad press, and I can't help but think that contributed to the drop in global rankings. But in any event, I've been getting used to my little office there. I got my name on the door now, and it's quite a pleasant little quiet place to study and work and prepare for my teaching and my lawyering. And it's got a little kitchenette, and in that kitchenette, I keep only two items. One of them is a little shaker,
Mhm.
like a little bottle with a little metal doohickey in it for dispersing sediment or other things that you put in shakers. And the other thing is a kind of Ziploc container full of something known as Optiman for him, which is a premium weight loss product meal replacement shake that I've recently started using.
They are going that we are getting an affiliate link for that, and that is going
Yeah,
in
100%.
the YouTube comments, the YouTube
I know.
description.
The other day, somebody was giving me stick about using it, so I sent them a minute and a half, just like prop my phone up, and I did just a recording of me making it, and then I sent them separately a thing where I did that classic. Come with me as I have lunch in the kitchenette at Melbourne Law School.
Get ready with me.
Today, yeah, get ready with me. Today I'm having Optiman for him. It comes in chocolate, but also salted caramel, vanilla, and coffee. So I had the chocolate, and I'm quite embarrassed usually have to make sure that nobody else is in there because I feel like a goose getting my silly magic shake out of the cupboard. And this guy was in there the other day, and he said, like, enjoy is that coffee? And I was like, don't worry about what it is. It's just it's just something that I'm using so that I can be a bit less fat for Christmas. But anyway, I've been using it, and I quite enjoy it. It's quite a clever. I don't know quite what it contains. I haven't read all the ingredients, of which there are roughly 100, but
Yeah.
but it's got this thing called Optibiome in it. Basically, it gives you all the nutrients that you need, and it is surprising how little hunger you experience after you eat it, which makes me think probably got some very low dose of amphetamines or something in it.
Or
I'm going to
Ozempic.
end up, yeah, exactly. And I'm going to end up like Sarah Goldfarb in Requiem for a Dream. But
Just scratch next morning at the kitchenette, just frantically scratching your neck, going, I'm going to be on the television.
And anyway, I've been using that. Shout out to Optiman, show sponsor, and it made me think about another product which kind of shot to prominence maybe around 2017, 18, something like that. By that time, it had been going for a few years, and that product was the provocatively named Soylent,
Yeah.
which is a kind of similar thing, a meal replacement shake, not really intended, I don't think, for weight loss as much as just for kind of health maintenance. And it was an interesting it was an interesting moment in the tech world because, tech bros and kind of Silicon Valley culture. I mean, this was sort of going back 2013. It was created by this software engineer called Rob Reinhardt, who put together about 35 ingredients, all of which he deemed essential nutrients. And so he basically kind of did it himself based on his own self-teaching about, US government advice about, what the essential nutrients for sustenance were and so on.
If I
And
remember,
he had this,
if I remember correctly, John, he said that his the incentive for him was he said he just didn't generally enjoy eating, and he found it
Mm,
laborious, which I
yeah,
always found that really stuck with me. How he just said, "Look," and it's just so tech. He just said, "I don't really like eating,
yeah,
so here's what I'm going to do."
yeah. He just would prefer to be coding 24/7 if he could.
Yeah,
Probably sleep was a similar source of inconvenience to him,
exactly.
and
Breathing.
breathing. I wish
He
I
goes, "I've
could
come up with these
basically,
glasses that stop you
I wish I
blinking."
could be a software programmer, not a person. That was his ambition.
Guys, do you know how much of the day you end up spending with your eyes closed if you combine all the
Exactly.
blinks that you do?
Yeah,
Well, worry
exactly.
no more because
Yeah, a blink is like a dripping tap, you could
yeah.
have those eyes open 24 hours a day. Imagine how much you'd get done. Imagine how much you'd perceive. And so, yeah, he put these things together and just kind of went for it. Basically said, "Okay, I'm just gonna live on this concoction that I've made."
Yeah.
And I think he went on it for a couple of months. He encountered various kind of health problems, probably got like, I don't know, fucking kidney stone and constipation and then
Yeah.
diarrhea. And each time something happened, he would be like, "Okay, I've got too much of this or too little of
Of
that."
course.
So he would tweak it.
The Silicon
And
Valley iterate, the A/B test.
exactly,
We know it so well on
exactly.
Don't Praise the Machine with all of our
It's
own
true.
thumbnail split tests and
It's
iterations.
it's so true. He applied exactly that logic. He said, "I've just got to get a product to market which is just good enough so that I don't
That's right.
die, and then I can refine it
That's right.
over time."
The MVP, the minimum viable product.
And then, yeah, then he eventually kind of came up with this golden formula that became Soylent, and got lots of investors, similarly minded people. They were into life hacks and
Mm.
maximizing productivity and treating life as a kind of capitalist dystopian nightmare. So they thought, yeah, I'll have that as well. Soylent is the drink for me, and it became very, very popular a few years ago. And then I don't know, I think I had kind of forgotten about it. And then I saw this video that somebody put up on that somebody put up on TikTok a few weeks ago. And it was just this kind of quite amusing nerd explaining some piece of software. And he said, "Don't mind me, I'm just drinking Soylent. That's what nerds drink for
Yeah.
sustenance." And I was like, "Oh, it's still going." So, and then I was reminded of it because I was getting into the Optiman, and it's interesting that it is still going, and not only that, but we're into, of course, the autumnal seasons in the northern hemisphere, and so I looked at their website, and they have in recent weeks introduced seasonal
Mm.
varieties, which so there's a pumpkin spice
Sure.
Soylent and a gingerbread Soylent, which I don't know. I mean, if you're the kind of person who thinks that eating is too sort of frivolous, I'm not sure that you'd really need pumpkin spice Soylent. You'd just be happy with a kind of completely neutral flavor profile, which apparently it pretty much has. It tastes like sort of bread in liquid form, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really do anything for your taste buds. But it's got a few like masking agents so that you can't taste its more abhorrent characteristics, essentially. And they've also said on their website that they're partnering with Feeding America member food banks to donate
Ah.
one meal for every bottle of Soylent purchased during September. That's obviously last month, in order to honor Hunger Action Month. And that to me was an interesting development as well, because it sort of was a bit, I mean, I remember seeing this meme about the kind of World Flat Earth Society,
Mm.
and it says something like, "We have members all around the globe." And it's like, well, but you don't think it is a globe. And then
Shouldn't that be all across the flat?
yeah, we have members all across the plateau of Earth. And similarly, it seemed a bit ironic to me that, because I don't know, one of the benefits of Soylent apparently is that it costs less than regular food. And so,
Yeah.
depending on what you're eating, but for a lot of people, their budget would be reduced if they just ate kind of this pre-prepared mush. And so it seemed weird to me that they were going, okay, well, feeding America, we're going to give these people in need real meals because we understand that that's actually the only thing that people need, and that's what'll bring you happiness instead of this kind of high-tech chemical slop that we've created. I mean, if you believed in your product, you'd just be like, just drink Soylent.
But I mean,
Good for you.
imagine the optics of this corporation saying, "We're going to feed the poor with our drink that we've named Soylent."
Exactly. We've literally named it after ironically named it after a dystopian nightmare science fiction film, which is actually based on a novel. I was reading about that today as part of my research. But yeah, I was thinking, because obviously this is a bit of a short-term plan, the OpDemand thing. It's not a forever idea, but it could be that I pivot from OpDemand at some point to some kind of, if I'm just at my desk and I think I don't have a second to spare, I'm getting that bag. I can't afford to go out for my usual 3-course lunch. I just need the chemicals in my body. I mean, you would even think maybe Soylent's not the height of efficiency. The height of efficiency would probably just be a tablet, or maybe even just having a intravenous that.
Yeah. Well, what will happen is that this is again one of those things that is potentially closer than we think. We will wear some kind of device which will monitor your nutrient levels at all times, and it will just tell you, okay, your body is lacking in exactly this amount of this, and then you'll go to your kitchen, and your kitchen will be connected to your device. And it will go, okay, if you want, like, I can recommend a meal which gets pretty close to these macros for you. Or we've all got little Soylent machines in our house where you can just press a button, and it'll dish you out the powder with the exact amounts that you are lacking.
Wrist up to the machine, and it says, okay, you need 20 cc's of calcium or something, and it'll just go and spit that out for you.
Yeah, and there'll be Mark Zuckerberg's cool face on the machine with his, he'll go, "Hey, John, I see you're a little low in magnesium." And then he'll have his cool curly hair and a chain around
hair and chain.
And you'll think, wow, a guy so cool as this would never do anything wrong. And then you just eat your calcium powder. Look at him. He's doing MMA now. I trust him much more than I did when he was an android in front of a Senate committee with this weird
a sweating android, and now he's got the haircut of the guy in the sort of for real no cat memes.
No cat memes. And how is it? How does it? Do you get cravings after you've had your special
pretty
powder?
Good. The only thing is, it does have some kind of stimulant in it. I don't think it's anything like speedy. I think it's like green tea extract.
Okay.
So if I've had too many coffees and then I have it, I'm just palping away for the rest of the day. I can't relax, but I get a lot of work done. But I don't feel hungry, and it did make me think, yeah, I mean, this isn't too bad. And also, it does jive pretty well with the kind of, because the kitchenette is such a kind of soulless functional space, and I almost think it's worthy of like a social history of kitchenettes, because it's such a weird cultural phenomenon that we've taken eating, basically we've just stripped away all of the cultural significance, and you've got a little tap that does chilled or boiling and you make your sad little lunch in there, and it's no windows. It's always like an internal room and like in the bowels of some building, and I'm just eating my like fake powder meal in there, and I just feel like, fuck, I may as well be on the space station here. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I think, well, I do just want to get out of here so I can go home. So I don't really need to take myself to a cafe for half an hour and bugger around and pay $30 for a meal. So so it's kind of nice. And it did make me think, yeah, kind of maybe those Silicon Valley goofballs are right. I mean, yeah. Are they even Silicon Valley? I mean, are people leaving Silicon Valley now? Is that less of a thing than it was in 2013?
Apparently it's as much of a thing as it ever was. There was talk during the pandemic that everybody was going to leave. This was the big thing. Everybody was saying California is too crazy liberal and they're too locked down and the taxes are too high. And Gavin Newsom is just like corrupt Mayor Quimby. And so, he was going.
He does have that look to him.
And he was telling everybody to stay home and not visit their dying relatives because COVID was terrible. And then he was just at the French Laundry fancy restaurant, just living it up. And it was so Mayor Quimby, the whole thing about it. It's just like suitcases of cash being opened and closed in back rooms and deals being made. And so the talk
and also
was,
he used to be married to that woman. What's her name? Who's now with one of Trump's sons, or was at least for a long time.
And you realize, it's not about principles at all. It's about power. Oh,
she just loves
shucks.
She just loves power adjacent men.
Nobody.
Although, I mean, Gavin's also very handsome, whereas I don't know if that's true of poor old Don Jr. I think I'd pick Gavin if I could.
Yeah, Don Jr. That's right. He's the first one that he had. Yeah, that's so.
I think so.
Don Jr.'s his first one. It's so Trumpy as well, isn't it? To have called you first after himself. And then Eric's the weird, sweaty looking one.
Yeah, that's right.
And then did you see that Barron suddenly exploded onto the scene? 7'9" Barron, the alien Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing. I've always thought of Barron as quite shy of the spotlight and also potentially kind of deranged. He's got a bit of a lurch look to him.
He's been active on Twitter. He's been posting things on Twitter, and he's hip to the culture. I think there was some talk that he may have played a part in encouraging his father to go on Rogan because he's in that sphere.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and I think he probably trades crypto coins, and he's probably wearing high tops. Ladies and gentlemen, Barron von Trump.
Sounds like a wrestler. Kimberly Guilfoyle is the woman
That's
I've been wondering about, and she. Yeah, I remember this. I remember when I was looking at her and Newsom. They did this spread in Vanity Fair or something back in the 2000s, and they were kind of touting them as the new Kennedys because they were very glamorous and youthful and kind of progressive. And then I think he cheated on her and they split up, and then she's just thought, what else can I get here? Maybe one of the Trump boys.
Yeah.
And apparently they're very happy, and I wish them the best.
Guys, we'd love to get you on. We'd love to get. We want to. It's been my dream to get all the Trump sons on the podcast. The triple double check, I call it. And we want all those three Trumps. We want Don Jr., Eric, and Barron von Trump to come on.
He's kind of the Rizzler of the Trump sons.
He's fucking enormous. Have you seen? I think he's 6'7", 6'9". How tall is Barron? He's enormous. He is.
Shit, he's big. 2.06 meters. That's pretty big.
How many feet is
Barron? 6'9"? Fuck me.
Does it say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 6'9". That's fuck. That's crazy.
Why is he so tall? Is he from Trump and is he spawn of Trump and Melania?
Yeah, he is.
Ooh.
He's got a little bit of that tall Euro trash. I mean, Trump's mother was Scottish as well, so it was quite a lot of European Trump family.
And where's Melania from again? I forget.
Is she Slovenian? Yeah, she's from around the icy waters of Lake Bled in Slovenia. And they do a delicious cake that's got vanilla custard cream inside. And Melania, I'd love it if you and Barron came over to my house to do the podcast and you brought a slice of Slovenian vanilla custard cake.
That's right.
John, I loved hearing about your meal replacement drinks, and I want an update on your bowel movements next week. I want to know if they're holding strong or if it's all falling apart.
I'll just be like Tim Heidecker in On Cinema, where bits of me will just start falling off, and I'll just be zealously committed to Optiman, and you'll say, I think it's doing you more harm than good.
Let's keep saying, Dr. Zan tells me that Optiman is the way for me.
Exactly. Apparently all these boils, that's just toxins exiting my body, and I've just got to wait it out.
Man, so good. I have a fun headline here. I actually went to a bunch of different newspapers that were reporting on the same story, and I tried to pick the punchiest headline. And I think I want to give that award to the Toronto Sun, who wrote regarding this story. Lily Allen reveals her OnlyFans feet photos make more money than her music. I want to say Lily Allen reveals her OnlyFans feet photos make more money than her music. John, did you hear this? Can you believe this? Did you hear about this? Can you believe this?
I did not hear about it. I knew that she was a musician who was married to David Harbour from Stranger Things, but I didn't know that she had. I didn't even know that she had a fucking OnlyFans. That seems like an odd choice.
So I heard this last week, and somebody mentioned it on a podcast I was listening to, and I just was like, that can't be real. I thought it was a joke. And then I checked, and sure enough, she posted on, for anybody who doesn't know, Lily Allen, absolute superstar musician of the noughties from the UK. And she's not as much of a pop star in the spotlight as she once was. I, like John, I'm just more familiar with her now because she just occasionally pops up on like Architectural Digest YouTube channels with David Harbour and stuff, and which we can also get to because when I watched,
talked about that on the podcast at some distant,
either on the podcast or perhaps in person, because like I knew that Lily Allen had money, and I had heard of David Harbour, but when I saw their New York apartment, I just went, where are they getting that much money from? Like,
it's pretty
it didn't
wild.
make economic sense to me unless they have some hidden fortune or her. I mean, she comes from an acting entertainment family, Lily Allen. But I digress. So she posted on.
Can I just digress a bit further? The one thing I remember from that episode of the Architectural Digest about David's house. This might have been even before Lily moved in with him. It was just his house, and he said, and he had this massive bathtub, and it had like 6 taps, like sort of quite nice, kind of antique looking brass taps. And he was sort of mocking himself, saying, it's I don't know, I just went with like a bunch of taps. And I just imagine this New York tradie just fucking absolutely rubbing his hands together going, all the coolest people have like 8 taps in their bath. Like just fucking, just like so dumb. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that you need more than 1 tap. But anyway, he's gone for the multi-taps.
Yeah.
So it's like a steampunk bath for no reason.
Yeah, I just came from doing Anna Wintour's bathroom, and she's got 7 toilets in the same room. You're going to want to get 7 or 8 toilets. Right,
exactly. Fine, whatever. Yeah.
So Lily Allen she tweeted, imagine being an artist and having nearly 8 million monthly listeners on Spotify, but earning more money from having 1,000 people subscribe to pictures of your feet, or it might be 10,000. No, I think she makes. Yeah, so I think she makes at the moment, or at least when the article was written, she was making, I think, 10 grand a month from selling pictures of her feet on OnlyFans. And apparently she'd mentioned it on a podcast, and apparently I think there's a claim that she went to a podiatrist, and her podiatrist, is that I'm always get these confused. Not pediatrician, podiatrist. Podiatrist said that she had very nice feet. And I'm going to send this to you, John, because this is a website that you're going to have to pretend that you never went to, but I know that you really did, which is a website called Wiki Feet. And the Wiki Feet, for anybody who doesn't know.
Up.
Yeah, so can you look up Wiki Feet? Oh, here you go. I'll just
came up in my search history. All right.
So,
it's got a real old look to it. A collaborative. What does that mean? As opposed to more of an individualistic feet website. It says a collaborative celebrity feet website. Feet of the week. It's got feet of the day.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, random feet gallery. Oh, yeah. This is exactly the kind of thing. Whenever I go to court and I have to use my laptop in court, I'm terrified that even if I know that this isn't going to happen rationally, I'm terrified that I'll open it to something like that and everyone in the gallery will see just Wiki Feet.
Specifically Lily Allen. You're just on Lily Allen's Wiki Feet page. So the thing about Wiki Feet, which, as you say, it's what does it say? The Collaborative Celebrity Feet website. So, so for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm assuming this is going to be more women than men, because I haven't looked at the data on this, but I know that fetishes skew pretty hard male, and I'm pretty sure that feet-specific fetishes skew real hard male. So some men who can
I just got a threat secured notification from Norton. I'm not sure that Wiki Feet is the safest website in the world.
Spyware getting sent to you from Wiki Feet. So some men get very turned on by women's feet, and that's why websites like Wiki Feet exist, and that's why Lily Allen's able to make $10,000 a month from pictures of her feet. But she already had a profile, not set up by herself, I don't think. She had a profile on Wiki Feet, and as you say, John, it's got a real old school look. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Wiki Feet's been around since Lily Allen was super famous, because I was surprised at how many pictures there are of her feet. And so the pictures of her feet are pictures that are like incidental feet pictures, because obviously she's a celebrity who's been photographed millions of times in her life. And so feet enthusiasts have gone through all the photographs and they post close-ups of any shoeless, sockless, or perhaps even sandaled or thonged picture. And she has
slips.
Yes, she has. What did you say?
I said like a toe slip.
Toe slip
is the equivalent of a nip slip.
Toe slip.
Or because sometimes those websites have like, I don't know, like people caught in compromising moments by paparazzi, which I guess would be like her shoe accidentally falls off when she's walking to a restaurant, and they sell it to Wiki Feet.
Pinky slip. Pinky toe slip.
Exactly.
It says here, displaying page 1, pictures 1 to 100 out of 661. So there's 661 pictures of Lily Allen's feet on Wiki Feet. And now this is what you need. Rating, John.
Oh, rating.
5 stars. So I don't.
Okay.
So it's been decided by the community.
The foot community.
By this community.
Shout out to our members in the foot community.
That she has some of the most beautiful feet that your eyes ever did see. And so I think she knew, okay, there's a big market out there for these feet. And so she's gone and set up an OnlyFans profile, for anybody out there not familiar with the website. It's a website that allows creators to go on and sell images and videos of themselves doing whatever they want. Maybe they're playing video games, maybe they're sharing their love of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and sometimes predominantly women will sell photographs that allow men to become, they'll sell images and media that allow men to become aroused. And that's,
It sounds like you're running a sex ed class. And that's fine.
and that's fine. And that's how OnlyFans, it was revealed quite recently, John, I remember hearing this. OnlyFans has paid out how much money to creators over its time? Do you know about this? Can you handle this? Do you know about this?
A sickening amount.
Can you handle this?
But I can't handle it.
It's paid out more than $20 billion to creators since it began 8 years ago.
Only 8 years. There you go.
8 years ago. So there's a lot of...
And it's taking... I mean, that's not its revenue. That's just what it's giving to
That's
creators.
what it's giving to creators.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Should have got OnlyFans shares.
Yeah, the guy who bought it, we could do a deeper dive one time, but it's quite a fascinating story. The guy who bought it was quite, he was quite entrepreneurial, and he just knew he bought it so cheap. He bought it for a couple of million, and he just knew, I can turn it into. He said, "I know that the pervert dollar is so strong." He said, "I know that you can't." He said, "I know you can't be a pervert and not pay. If you want to be a pervert, you have to pay." And he said, I know one of the most monetizable things in the world is a deep male loneliness, and I'm going to make some real dollary doos out of that." So
what a saint.
So, yeah. Imagine meeting that guy. Imagine bringing him around to dinner. I wonder what he looks like. I wonder if he's an LA guy.
Probably.
Got LA guy head with turkey teeth and
yeah. He's probably got platinum tips and swollen face from all the Botox.
So Lily Allen decided, look, I'm not making enough money from Spotify, which apparently pays her a paltry sum, which I would absolutely believe. And she realized, look, WikiFeet says I'm literally standing on gold down here. I got gold in these shoes, she said to David Arbor.
There's gold in them, their shoes.
It's gold down there in them, their shoes. David Arbor from Stranger Things. And so... yeah, so she's making real bank on OnlyFans, posting photographs of her feet that I am going, look, I don't understand this world, so if I'm happy to be corrected, I'm going to assume that men masturbate to these photographs. What do you think? Or am I off base, Lily? Is it more is it an appreciation that is non-sexual?
I don't think it's I don't think they're anatomist fans who are like, are just measuring. They're just doing ratios of the big toe to the little toe. No, I'd like to believe that. So I mean, I'm just looking at them now. I don't really see it because that's not my thing, I guess. I mean, they're not like bad feet. They're fine, but they're not that great.
There's the other thing that there's people that are quite repulsed by feet. And that's, funnily enough, that's a much more acceptable thing to admit than the other. If you're at a dinner party and you said, "Oh, I can't stand feet," people would be like, "Haha, that's funny." If you're at a dinner party and you said, "Oh, I love just jerking off to feet," people would go,
"Yeah."
That's the
main reason I'm with my partner here at the dinner party is because she had hot feet.
That's right.
I knew that those are the best feet I'd ever seen, and I just locked it down. I knew I'd never see a better pair of feet.
He said, we went to the beach and she took off her shoes, and I was like, she got gold down there in them pair of shoes.
Yeah. I mean, not just the beauty of the feet, but also knowing that she could be a provider. You thought,
exactly.
She's going to make $120,000 easy a year just from foot.
You'll like this, John. She said her husband, actor David Harbour, quote, thinks it's great. And then she said there's very strict guidelines. And then
as in like between them as a couple.
I think so. I think that's what I think. Okay. I think there's some agreement. And then she said, I'm finding
stranger toes.
said, I'm finding this actually very empowering. I think this is a comment she made to a magazine or a journalist. I'm finding this does sound like cope. Are you familiar with this new use of cope, John? Speaking about, we love talking about internet talk. Now that I've said it, you'll hear it everywhere. So you can say that's such cope, and it means basically you rationalizing or justifying something where you don't really think the thing that you say, but you have to say it in order to appear that you're fine.
Face or something.
To save face, exactly. You're not vulnerable to people's slings and arrows. So this is a classic example. If you believe that what she's saying, that deep down she doesn't really think that. So you'd say, "Oh, this is the biggest cope." Oh man, I think that's just cope. That's how it would. So I'll give you an example. So Lily Allen says, I'm finding this actually very empowering because having been very sexualized from a very early age and literally everybody else in the process profiting from that sexualization, it's actually really fun to be in power and in control of something that I find so silly. And then you might say, Lily, that does sound like a bit of cope, and it sounds like a slippery cope slope, if you ask me, because
cope slope. Yeah.
Because, she says at the end here, I just find it silly. And that really does sound like cope. It's like, Lily, own it or don't own it. Don't be all like, it's just silly. Look, Lily, men are masturbating to pictures of your feet and you're making money from it. If that's fine, just say that's fine. Don't say it's anything other than that.
Yeah, totally.
And David Arbor, don't you say anything other than that as you lay under your 12 taps, getting 7 different types of lukewarm water.
Exactly.
Over your
head. What he loves is just to have one on hot, the next one on cold, and so on. So he gets like a complete contrasting sensations down his body. and then Lily's just in the other room papping her feet.
Yeah. But it's interesting, isn't it? Like, I don't know.
I'm sick of these rules. You know who's paying for those fucking taps? Stranger Things is just about over.
How do you think we'll get 8 taps? Do you think it's from whatever the heck fuck you've been in? Who's even heard of you? People don't even know your name. They just know that you're in Stranger Things.
Exactly. You think Millie Bobby Brown's got 8 taps? No.
I don't know. There just is something about
is foot only. This sounds like such a fucking like Steve Coogan thing. Is taking photos of your feet cheating?
Because if you're knowingly providing, I mean, here's the thing. She, on one hand, you could argue there are just photographs of her feet out there, 661, that she doesn't own because she has just been in public, and she wasn't to know that, to know that people are getting aroused.
Misuse. I mean, if you can be in a film and people can pause it and do what they like,
that's right.
It's not what you intended.
But then I kind of like, I do kind of like this image of David Arbor where he's like, it's cool, I love this, it's awesome. And then he comes home from work on Broadway one day, and she goes, "Hi, hon," and she's not really paying attention to him, and she's like using her phone to snap photographs of their feet.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's so silly. And then he goes to Broadway to do rehearsal the next day. And then he comes home the next day, and she's like, "Hey, hon," and she's laying on her back with her feet in the air, taking more photographs of them. And I just wonder if there's a point.
Well, what's interesting is the comment that it's silly, apart from being a bit kink shamey, you might argue.
That's right. That's very true. Yeah.
But if she was like, it turns out people like tits, so I just am going on OnlyFans and taking pictures of my bare breasts because there's a market for that. Isn't that silly? And David was like, yeah, this is so silly that people want to see you naked. It's just this funny quirk of human beings.
It is a goofy, silly thing.
Exactly. Because it's very, that's a very standard attraction to the kind of more commonly coveted parts of the female anatomy. So if it was one of those, the reaction to it would be totally different. But it's just the fact that the feet is odd that makes them think, it's just kind of innocent.
Well, also, if she's going to say, I find it silly, I'm finding this actually quite empowering because I've been sexualized from a very early age. It's really fun to be in power and in control of something that I find so she's saying in that, like, I like being in power and in control of my own sexuality. And it's like, well, you could apply that to showing your boobs, Lily. If that's like if that's how you feel, then just show your boobs and defend that with the exact same sentence. I'm finding this quite empowering because I was sexualized from an early age, and literally everybody else.
Imagine how much money you'd make if you just went mainstream OnlyFans, except instead of like niche OnlyFans. She'd be wiping the floor with David Arbor's Stranger Things income.
But it is a really interesting moral question. Like, if you are able to profit from, because I guess she would, in her mind, there's clearly a distinction between I'm showing like everything and I'm showing my feet. Like, feet is silly. But at the same time, she knows that it's a sexual thing.
It's for sexual.
She's not making that money because it's like enthusiasts.
No, it's not podiatrists doing their homework.
So I don't know. It's a great dinner party conversation. This is what the show's for, guys. Bring this up at your dinner party. See how it goes after a few glasses of wine. Say, Greg, would it be okay?
Jars of Soylent at your dinner party. A few jars of
Soylent. Say, Greg, would it be okay? Craig, would it be okay if Jeanette sold photographs of her feet on? And then the question goes, well, where's the line? Can she sell pictures of her stomach for like belly enthusiasts? And then,
or what if she
side boob
clients? What if she met with clients in person and they just wanted to look at her feet? Is that still fine?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating to see how it's going to go. And guys, if you want a wacky journey, look up the Architectural Digest video of Lily Allen and David Arbor. And somebody explained to me where that money is coming from, because they have this like because it's a Brooklyn apartment that they've bought. Yeah. I think I actually remember I went to the effort of looking up him because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. His parents have been in real estate for years in New York, I believe. So I think they know the game. But it's one thing to buy a Brooklyn apartment, but it's quite another to go. They do the classic thing where they just go, we had, Hiroshima Magasako come in and redesign the bathroom, and then we had this other designer come in and design this closet, and you're just like, what kind of money do you guys have? Is this all Lily Allen music money? It's just like, how are you getting fancy designers to come? And as you say, he's doing the whole, I've got 12 taps in my bath. And then, this wallpaper was drawn by hand by this Norwegian idiot savant that we love the work of. And you just go, this is a very expensive home.
Totally. Although he did say in an interview with The Guardian in 2021 that he was a socialist. Well, David, may I suggest that you read the works of Marx and Engels, because I'm not sure that you're in line.
He's classic New York Guardian socialist.
Totally. Yeah, it's not even like a Chardonnay socialist. They call them 8-tap socialists there.
John, I think that's a great note to leave this program on. We're off to record. I've got to turn the lights pink because I'm recording the members only DPTM After Dark episode. Anybody, if you're interested, patreon.com/DPTM, or just Google Don't Praise the Machine Patreon. And then you can get the episodes one day early, and you get access to After Dark, where I'm going to be talking about celebrities that are showing way more than their feet on OnlyFans.
Classic After Dark, adults only.
I'm going to bid farewell, and I'm going to say thanks everybody for tuning into the podcast. We can't wait to see you next week.
The podcast.